And so what you want to do is you want to develop your software in the lowest version number and API version that has all the features that you want. So if you need a certain feature or functionality that is really super cool and it's the only thing that you can use to write the kind of software that you're writing, obviously you have to start with that version. But if you're not doing something that's super specific that has a feature that was released with a certain number, I would recommend either going after 2.1 or 2.2, because that is really where the majority of the software's features were kind of set in stone, and if you target those, you'll get the most devices, most smartphones, and most tablets that are compatible with your software. If you write your software for, say, version 4.1, and my smartphone, which is an HTC Incredible, is up to 2.3.3, then I won't be able to run your software because you're targeting a version and an API that is higher than what my device supports. So everyone who's on my phone or a similar phone or maybe an older phone won't be able to do anything with your software. And when you're writing Android software, the goal really is to target the most devices that you can so that you can get the most exposure possible. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a closer look here. Android SDK platform tools are not installed. I'm going to go ahead and install those. Looking into this, the things that are most important in here are the SDK platform samples are fine. We can download those and maybe take a look at those if we want to. The Google APIs is very important because if you want to do any development that has to do with Google Maps or any of the other Google features or Google services, then you want to target the Google version of this API. So we're going to include that. The rest of these, dual screen APIs, I don't need that. Real 3D, I'm not going to be doing anything with that. These, don't really need any of those, so that'll just save us some download time. Same thing with the Android 2.2. We'll keep these first three, don't need the dual screen API, Real 3D or Galaxy Tab, and then these are already set up how we want it. Under the extras, Android support library, sure. Do cloud messaging, that actually is kind of cool. I just wrote an app, or helped write an app that made use of that at my workplace. And then, let's see. Google Play, APK expansion library, okay. Billing and licensing, alright. This Google USB driver is what enables you to connect up your phone and have your phone be a debugging device. Basically what you do is you plug in a USB cable from your phone to your computer, and then this driver allows Eclipse and the Android SDK to recognize your phone as a device that can be used for debugging. So you can launch your program from within Eclipse and say, okay, I want to debug this thing, I want to run this thing, and the target device is my phone, which is attached by USB. And it will install the latest build from your project onto your phone and allow you to actually step through the code while it's running on your phone, which is really cool. That functionality obviously is available if you're just doing development through the emulator, but the emulator is a little bit slower than your device. So if you're going to be doing a lot of debugging, a lot of editing, a lot of stepping through your code, attaching a real device is going to save you some time because it's faster. WebDriver, sure, I'll go ahead and do that. Intel hardware accelerated execution, why not? Alright, so now that I've picked out all of the things that I want, I'm going to go ahead and hit install, and it says here are all the things that require you to accept their license agreements. The ones with checkboxes say you're good to install. Question marks mean you still haven't agreed to the license on that. And rather than clicking on each one and hitting accept, I just check this accept all, and they all get checkboxes, and now I say install. and off it goes. Now this, depending on what you're downloading, can take a very long time. You'll also notice that it brings up this SDK manager log. It's basically telling you what it's doing. It's shutting down services, it's installing software, it's downloading software, it's restarting services, it's parsing XML, blah, blah, blah. So you can kind of keep an eye on what it's doing in here. And then when it's finished, it will let you know. So I'm going to pause the recording, let this thing do its thing, which probably will take half hour or so. It downloads a lot of information, and then I'll resume once we get to that point. So I wanted to take a second to show you the usage statistics, kind of along the lines of what I was just talking about with targeting which API version you're going to be using to basically hit the majority of users out there. So if you go out to Android's developer website, they have this platform versions and current distributions, and you can see that 1.5 and 1.6 make up 0.7% of the market currently. So you have this little teeny tiny slice over here. 2.1 is 4.7, so you've got this decent slice here. 2.2 is pretty good chunk. 2.3 was pretty small. They patched it pretty quick to 2.3.3, which was Gingerbread, and that was a very popular release, and you've got the vast majority of people on that version. And then you've got 3.1 and 3.2, which were Honeycomb, and that's a fairly small slice. And then Ice Cream Sandwich version 4 on API 14.15 make up this bigger chunk right here. So if you target 2.1, which is my preference, whenever I develop applications, I target 2.1, then basically you're going to start here and you're going to get the entire slice up through 4. The only thing you're going to miss out on is this 0.7% of the market, which is using older devices that are now outdated. So you're basically going to get 99.3% of the market if you target 2.1. If you target 2.2, you're going to get about 95% of the market. So still pretty good. So I'd recommend targeting one of these two. Targeting Gingerbread, you're going to miss out on almost 20% of the market. So anyway, that's kind of some more information, and then it's really up to you to decide which feature set you want to use based on what you're doing. We go back here to the Android SDK installation, and we see that it is now done. You'll look through and you can see the ones that are now installed and not installed, and I think that at this point we're good. I'm going to go ahead and shut this down and restart it again, because when you restart it, it will go out there and it will re-poll for items, and sometimes now that you've done an update, it will say, oh, I missed something, and it will, more stuff will show up in your list. So it's finished. Google Analytics SDK, that might be useful, maybe. I'm going to go ahead and install that one real quick. That shouldn't take very long. And everything else looks good.